Hi everyone. So here is Mila from Moonlight Soul and Marissa from Growing the Flow. And here is another episode of Stars and Cards. And this one is episode 38, which is the number 11, recorded on May 29th, which is the number 11. And we're going to be talking about energies for June. Hello, Marissa. How are you?
Hello, I am good. And wow, that's pretty cool. So we enter in with angel numbers 1111 as we reach that midway point of 2025 that we've been talking about. I can't believe it's June. We're halfway there already. So,
It's crazy.
yeah. Yeah, and it's been quite a ride so far. So, it's going to be interesting to see how now, as we're meeting just on the other side of the new moon in Gemini, what that is seeding for us and what's coming in on the other half here, the back half. That
Exactly. And then building up to our Sag full moon, well, not technically quite on the 11th, of June, another number 11. So yeah, so the story is unfolding, and by that point we have Jupiter in Cancer. Now we just had Saturn moving into Aries recently. This was the first moon with Saturn in Aries, and shortly Jupiter will be moving into Cancer. So yeah, so the energies are shifting once again, and then we'll have that one more Uranus for Gemini in July. So every month something's happening.
Yeah, every month tune in, there's something going on for us to talk about. So
That's
and
it.
I'm just now dipping into June myself. So I just knew what you covered, but we'll continue to peel back the layers, I guess, and see what's coming up. We can start with our lunations. We like to pull a Queen of the Moon oracle card to get us started. Um, yeah, this is right when we thought we would be meeting, right around this where we kind of have these three really, we're on the other side there of the new moon in Gemini and looking forward to those two lunations of June to see what's coming in.
We had a full moon in Sag, and then we have a very early new moon in Cancer right after we hit solstice.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you're right. Because we were just saying, I'm like, oh, it's been a year of thinking back to significant new moon in Cancer for me last year. I'm thinking, yeah, that was July, but this one is,
Yeah, yeah, this year is early.
yeah. All right. So a June Cancer new moon. Ooh, that totally jumped and flipped back around. I didn't even see what it was. Let's see. One card. One card for us, kind of giving us an overlighting energy. There we go. Ha! We know this one.
Oh gosh, that one is coming up so much. Yeah,
Yeah. We have talked about this card so many times, and I know we've individually gotten this card with that red balloon. Patience, you are here. That's my pin in the map. Like, here I am with this balloon, and I see all that potential out there, but we're still being called for that patience.
because
Still.
that's and what isn't it like 36 or something? Is it number nine? What
Yeah.
number is it?
It's 36. You're right. It's the
Yeah,
nine.
yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Because it's interesting because I just had a client today and it was exactly the same topic, like, yeah, like the success is guarantees, everything you want is right there on the other side of this, but not this year. The time is not right because we are in a year nine. So things I have
Mhm.
to, culminate first and stuff. So yeah, the patience is required because even though, as we mentioned, we have all of these new energies, Neptune in Aries, Saturn in Aries, Jupiter soon to be moving into Cancer, and then Uranus to move into Gemini in July, but they're going back. So we're not quite on the other side just yet. So yeah, that card makes perfect sense because especially with the Sagittarius full moon, it shows us where we have the potential to go, but we're not quite there yet.
Yeah. And it's getting that like wait for it. Like, and the balloon is just ready to burst because it's just been how long can I stand here holding this balloon? But it is giving me that recurring message of like be here now, be in the moment, being present. But this is something that was just coming up in some of my like personal readings and stuff the other day was like, you know, whatever it is, like full stop. Like we always want to carve out some exceptions to like, yeah, but like, come on, like, I didn't know I was gonna have to do this or feel this or experience that. And it's like if we fully, and it's funny because the card that just came up for us in the empowerment reading for the new moon in Gemini was surrender. And so, that word of surrender and acceptance was coming up where there really is this full just allowance. And so when we're here and we're going to be here now. And yeah, we're poised for what's out there, and we're looking out there. And it's hard. This is something we were talking about, like just finding that balance between the patience and the presence, and then also the planning and the projecting. Because it's like what we're told is if we want to manifest, we have to really see ourselves there. And how do you want to feel? And what do you want it to be like? Where we're very much forward focused. But then there's things here right now that are in need of, healing, processing, releasing, integration, whatever it is that are integral to that out there that I want. That if I could learn to cultivate a relationship with the here and now that sees that it's just another aspect of that amazing future thing that I want to spend all my time and energy on, this tedious task, this, part of the journey that's less than preferred is actually an aspect of that. It's not the most fun. It's just, it's not the one that I necessarily want to stay in, but I'm here now. And so what am I doing with that? All for the greater, serving the purpose of getting eventually to that place.
Yeah, that's literally what it is because yeah, just like you said, it's good to have the vision and of course working with the law of attraction and the quantum field, but yeah, where is the balance? Because then you don't want to gaslight and you don't want to brush things under the carpet and like, okay, well, I'm already living in my future, so I don't have to deal with this stuff right here, right now. But yeah,
Yeah.
there is the balance point. And yeah, having the patient, I think the patient is so important with this North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo, because there are so many things coming up, like for each of us, whether it's like, oh yeah, this is what I'm, like been working on all my life, through this lifetime, previous lifetime, ancestral lineage, or if you think you sorted out everything, then don't worry, universe gives you some collective stuff to sort out. But it's just like, yeah, this having the patience and the compassion with ourselves, because like I was sharing with you, like having the higher awareness of what's going on, but also holding a space for that wounded inner child, or in your case, a real child, or something, like having the patience and compassion that, oh yeah, this is not really convenient, I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to have to go through this, blah, 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 but it's happening. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so patience is key, but no, I feel like it's just, I know it's annoying and frustrating to just hear that one word. So it's sort of like presence, and also like seeing that there is a means to that end. Like this is a part and parcel of that path, all the P words you can muster, the path where I see myself. It's funny, I'm getting like this really obscure thing, but if on this card, you can see that on either side of her is corn. There's cornfields.
mm, mm,
And
mm.
she's kind of in this carved path, and I'm thinking, totally random. The other day, I saw a video that said that, for the first time, they captured a crop circles being carved out in real time. It was like a time lapse video. And it was suggesting something I had never heard before, is that it's this great mystery about crop circles and the idea that it's coming from like the sky down, like it's coming from above, but actually something that's suggesting that it's coming from underneath. It's coming from the ground. And so it's just, I don't know, it's bringing me into this space in between. It's sort of being carved out, but it comes from that lower, we're coming from the base and that brings us into all of those, the mundane tasks, the chopping wood, carrying water, taking care of the things that maybe we would just rather not have to deal with. That a lot of this expansion and the answers and what we're looking for as to what comes next and how to get there actually comes from the bottom up. So it's sort of bringing me into that sense of like the building blocks and the priorities of, where we're putting our attention and our energy here and now. So maybe I don't know, because I'm assuming full moon in Sagittarius is going to get us wanting to move and groove, not just stand there and wait patiently with a balloon. But I
Yeah,
guess we'll see.
I mean, like there's still the number nine, which is the hermit, right? So it's like you said, like it comes from within, it comes from inside, it comes from, like it's like even like to connect, to like activate the crown chakra. And okay, there are exceptions to the rule, but you have to go through all the chakras below that, they all have to be working, you have to be grounded and, connected and all the rest of it. So it's like we all want to just get there. I want to be there. I want to be, in this fifth dimension and doing all these awesome things and just forget about all this down there. But you get there when you master the down there, because it's like the step by step process, right? So it takes me back to the hermit, like the Virgo, like you said, chop wood, carry water, is the everyday mundane, like sometimes, sometimes you're there, sometimes you take some few steps back, obviously we're gonna, next month we will be entering into Cancer season, with the solstice and stuff. So it's just life, right? It's just life. So it's interesting, like you mentioned with the cornfield, and what came to me when you mentioned the cornfield, it was that song, the Chasing Cornfields, from the Interstellar. It's a very nice piano song, right? So yeah, and it's very often useful on meditations and stuff where they're like taking you to like different kind of dimensions and stuff. So yeah, so that's again like for me, like you have to make the space in your everyday reality for these things, but you still have to live your life, like yeah, make the time for meditation, make the time for introspection and the going within. But yeah, the dishes still have to be done, the cooking still have to be done, the kids still have to be taken care of and stuff. So it is like, yeah, things are happening, they are changing gradually, but we still have to take care of the life, so they are taking time.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. It's what we were saying actually in our side conversation about, the pentacles and the magic and the moolah, the notion of like, yeah, there's like these amazing things we want to just put out there to manifest, but also the practical. So I don't know, I'm feeling a two of pentacles. We'll have to see what
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
up
yeah,
here.
juggling. Juggling.
There's definitely some juggling and some recalibrating going on for sure. So let's get our cards out here so we can expand that conversation into beginning, middle, and end of June. See what's coming forward. We're going to use the Psychic Tarot this time. Ooh, I just got a little wink there from the lovers. So we got six. The sixth
Wow. And it's right on time with the
one.
Gemini season, right?
Yeah, that just winked at me. But let's see. Beginning of the month. What's coming forward for our collective energies? The Five of Pentacles. Yeah. It's like one way or another, we gotta find that sweet spot between the material and all of it. So, Five of Pentacles, that one says financial and material changes. Okay. The five. Now, middle of the month. Ah, Nine of Wands, right?
We had it
Spirit.
last time, or like recently. I saw this card recently somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, that's a pretty cool Nine of Wands, spiritual strength.
Almost there.
Almost there. Yeah, that's that nine again. And there is patience called for perseverance, resilience. Keep going. Spirit has your back. And the end of the month, let's see. Ah, okay. Now party time. Three of
Good.
Cups.
It is 19. I like that.
Yeah, so rejoice in celebration. So coming together and celebrating. So, all right, 5, 9, 3. We've got Pentacles, Wands, and Cups coming in there. So, hmm. Yeah, the five. I like this version because of the different colors, which I feel could tie into elements, whether we're talking about the chakras, but it's like each finger, each, section there, each have an area that is being sort of looked at in terms of what we're putting our hands into, what we're getting into. And um, like I said, trying to find that balance with the finance, the money, the safety, the security, the root chakra, and then, the wands, the fire, the sparks, and then the celebration. So patience is being called for here. And then we start the month with a little bit of getting okay with certain doors closing, other doors opening or not yet opening, and all the things that the Five of Pentacles would bring forward.
Yeah, for me, it's just very interesting how the cards are like played out because, we have the first nine, which is connected to the year number nine, Hermit. Now we have this five of Pentacles, which is actually that's the fixed sign, right? So there's the Taurus of the Pentacles suit. So this is all about the foundation. We are creating the foundation by, reevaluating the five. We know is the chaos agent, right? So some stuff is gonna get stirred up, so we can reevaluate certain things, and then we can decide, like, okay, like he's like, like you said, like looking at all these different areas of life, like, okay, where am I maybe leaking energy? Maybe where am I putting too much, too little? What is the priority? What's going on here? And yeah, it's like, with the nine of wands, that's actually a Sagittarius card, interesting, with the full moon in Sagittarius, and three of cups is the Cancer card, which is interesting because it's the Cancer season. So it's very like good layout with regards to the energies of the months. But yeah, with these after effects of this Gemini new moon, which we are integrating at the moment, and we're going to enter into a month of June with, and the five of pentacles in that case makes sense because, like, yeah, like, there are all these options, like before that we had the full moon in Scorpio, like I was sharing with you, like a lot of things got illuminated with regards to like where I feel disempowered, where do I still feel victimized, where do I feel that they are out there to get me, they making this life hard for me and stuff. And then there is a new moon in Gemini, so you have a choice, like it's up to you, like obviously under that all of these topics there is the patience card, like, just don't worry, we are just here to learn, school of life, the planet Earth school, Earth school. So I feel that with this five of pentacles, which usually it's like, right, the card of like financial losses or physical losses, is this person on the crutches, right? Like, oh shit, like what's going on here? So it's like, okay, well, like all the choices that I've ever made got me to where I am right here, right now, but I can always choose something different. So I mean, the five usually always represents like change, right? Like the chaos. But I mean, would we never go through anything difficult? We would never evolve, right? So it's like all of these, even like more challenging tarot cards, you can look at like, well, yeah, but this is necessary because I might have been stuck, might have even not been aware of like where am I leaking things, where things could be improved and stuff. So it is the card of the foundation that sometimes these things have to happen in order for us to reevaluate. Does this hold a meaning? Is this something that matters to me and stuff? And yeah, again, because of the energy of this Gemini new moon, we have the opportunity to look at it from different perspective.
Yeah, I like that how you said that the fives are the chaos agent or the change agent because we're in this change and transition. And yeah, that can be chaotic. It can feel untethered. And, another aspect of that Five of Pentacles is being on the outs,
Mm.
feeling, you know, abandoned or orphaned, in a state of everybody else is in there. And I'm getting this whole story because she's just standing there alone with the balloon. Like nobody came to my party. Like it's just me. And so there's this whole story of like, yes, one perspective, one side of the coin, one side of the hand is showing us the loss, the rejection, that, the things that weren't a fit or haven't come to be. And when you do think over all the fives of the tarot, you can dip into that energy, how that sense of that loss or that rejection or whatever it is does end up being the thing that sparks the movement and the create, because we can see where it ends: tribe, community, connection, celebration. So spoiler alert on the other end is that yes, there is this period of, the other thing with the five is, the fifth chakra, the communication. There is a lot of opportunity right now with all the, Gemini, the Mercury, like everything about communicating our needs, communicating our perspectives, expressing in some way. Emoting was another word that was coming up in some of my readings too. Like, because now, through the rejection and the redirection, we may have then emerged from that with a better, more clear sense then of why we now understand the reason that that didn't work out. The reason that that didn't come to pass is because these other things needed to take place, these encounters, these connections, these whatever. And so this is the sort of like, I always see this card with like your spirit, the spirit or your higher self or guides have your back. Like you're supported. It's been holding you up the whole time, even when it feels like you're all alone with the balloon in the cornfield or, on the outs, down and out, whether it be, like it's about financial, health, wellness, just all of those different aspects. This is bringing in that opportunity for kind of stepping back and, evaluating from that place of getting that clarity so that the next step is going to feel more aligned and more in sync with where you are now, because we've had to come through this, calibrating of all the parts, and everybody having to get on, it's all one hand, but all the fingers going in, all the different directions, kind of bringing it back together here so that the next move feels much more aligned, I feel.
Yeah, and it's also like with the Nine of Wands, just like traditional tarot is like, like you almost there, like you might be all beaten up, like barely standing on crutches and stuff. And that's why, like you say, like this is a perfect depiction because, like the spirit's been there all along, like, and yes, sometimes we just have to go for it, like the spirit is here to support us, they're here to cheer on us, they're here to help us as much as we can. But we came here to have this experience, we sign up for it, so we just have to go for it. Like we, as much as they want to help us, but we just have to run it through our system. And like I said, it's interesting that this is a Sagittarius card, and mid-month, I mean, even though Sagittarius moon is on the 11th, so not quite there, but I mean, it's the same energy, right? Like with the Sagittarius full moon, and like I said, by that point we have Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. That's actually the first lunation with Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. And this is about expansion of who we becoming. The Cancer is the identity, our ancestor lineage, our lineage as a humanity. And we're not gonna expand if there is no reason for it. Like, like all the changes, all the evolution, all the big jumpies, with regards to humanity and all the revolutions and stuff, and everything that created a big need for progress and change happened because of there was something unwanted, a pressure, So I feel like with this Nine of Wands, that then, like you said, it's gonna lead to the Three of Cups, which is yeah about co-creation, collaboration, people coming together, like, and because it is the Cancer card, it's all about, and Jupiter being in Cancer, obviously from the beginning of June, it is about, okay, you have the choice to decide who do you want to be, right? Who do you want to be? And then yeah, and then there, like you said, like you make it and they come, you build it, they will come. So first you have to build yourself, you have to decide who do I want to be, and then my people will come. So like once I decide, okay, I'm done with this, the Nine of Wands, I'm done with this, I'm putting these wands down, like thank you spirit, I've gone through everything I had to go through to learn what I know now, to be able to choose a different perspective, different lens. Like I don't have to keep doing this. I don't have to keep reliving the same story over and over again, just because my ancestor did it. I'm not obliged, to sacrifice myself, and they don't want me to. And then once we make the decision, okay, who do I want to become? Where do I want to be? Then the universe will respond, because we don't attract what we want, we attract who we are. So our our job is to decide, well, who do you want to be? What do you want to experience? So whatever is this, first half of June is gonna be about is a, because again, it's the after effects of the Gemini New Moon, is the choice, is the reevaluation, and sometimes we choose based on the contrast. So it's like, okay, absolutely not. This is absolutely what I don't want. I don't know where I'm going, but this sounds a bit better. And then stepping stone, because I'm in Virgo, right? South Node in Virgo, we got where we are by learning and adjusting, stepping stones. And then yeah, with the Nine of Wands, you're almost there, the change is coming, and then bam, obviously, solstice, Cancer season, change of season. And then we have like, okay, now you can connect with the people that are in alignment with who you choose to become.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like whatever loss, whatever is perceived here as a loss, whether again, financial, material changes, emotionally, health and wellness are also sometimes highlighted here. Whatever that is, you do and will find the strength. The spiritual strength is here, is lifting that off. There's a, like it's going to lift off. So it doesn't feel very long, that we could be in that state. And again, I think this is like also like collective stuff, the world stage, things that we could be observing that are happening. I think it's interesting that all three cards definitely really feature the hands in various ways, like whether we're looking at it here, here, or here, and when they're coming together. So there's this sense of like, and incrementally more hands, one, two, and then three hands at the end, like it just seems like this is all serving to unfold in its own time, patience, presence. Definitely, as I was saying about the closed doors, or the things that one of the things I usually see about this card is like, if you have found yourself sitting at a table that no longer resonates, you are not obliged to have to continue to sit there. If the door has shut in your face, or you need to shut a door, here, that again, the rejection and the redirection is the protection, so that on the other side of that is the people, places, things that are aligned with. It feels like there's just this refreshing, like you say, the creation and co-creation of coming together with others in a way that's just feeling like home, feeling like aligned. Whereas feels more forced. And it's just because perhaps we thought that's what we ought to be doing, or what we already started, so we ought to finish it. But we may be at that choice point of assessing whether or not those things are all still what we want, in alignment. And then, moving through whatever it takes to build from that new foundation to where we find ourselves at the end of June with the Cancer new moon. Wow, yeah. And then heading into July. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because yeah, the Cancer new moon will be the seeding of who you're becoming. Now you're making a choice, like a mental choice. This is what I want. This is what I'm choosing. But in order to create that reality and see it in manifested form, you first have to become it, like yeah, like we were saying, like you have to be right here, right now. But it's good to excavate, every day some moment, to dream that future that you want to bring into manifested form, because you are the one that's gonna create it. So yeah, with the Three of Cups, definitely with the alignment with the new moon in Cancer season, it's the card of Cancer. Jupiter is in Cancer, is actually, I think it's going to be conjunct the new moon. So there is a lot of emotions, and emotions are messengers and are also showing us what we have grown. Like you said, like, yeah, this is all the role I played, to all these people, and those are the people that played all these role to me, but we outgrown this. Now we want something different. So I'm gonna free myself and free others by, opposition Capricorn, setting up boundaries, like redefining the roles, like putting my Capricorn hat on and saying what is and what isn't in resonance, because nobody else will do it for you, and then yeah, it's this like a collaborative effort, because when enough people do it, like that authentic expression and choosing to live life in a different way and interact even in a different way, then more people will do it, like it's just like domino effect. So yeah, so this is all positive. And I was also what came to me when you were saying about this, I don't know how you said it, but like where are we forcing our hands, maybe in the territories that are not meant for us, like with the first card, like where we maybe like try to fit into places that are not meant for us. And this is where, where we use the saying that, sometimes the man rejection, God's protection, because maybe this is not where you were meant to be going anyway, or this was not what meant to, be something that would help you long term to get where you're going. So yeah, however this is going to show up, the Five of Pentacles is helping to create the co-create and create, the new foundation of who you becoming. And it is divinely orchestrated with the North Node in Pisces. This is the topic for the next year still, which is that the spirit is the North Star. We are being guided by the higher self.
hmm. Once again, we look within, right? We've been looking out, we're projecting out to this place that we're heading, and we're looking for, give me the answers, come on in, what do I need? But actually, it's like coming from within. Year of the Hermit, connecting in with your own spiritual strength. It's been right there with you the whole time. So it does feel like sort of pulling us back in so that we can then come out and connect, from that space. So yeah, that, I mean, and that again, it's not to, minimize what it feels like to be in the Five of Pentacles sometimes, but those are feels that, we can decide, how do we let it serve? How do we see, like, if this thing is coming up and I feel uncomfortable, I feel rejected, I feel whatever lower vibrational emotion I'm experiencing, let that be your teacher. Let that inform you. What is this coming up to show me? I've seen, beautiful versions. I love the Light Seers version of this card because she's really sitting there pulled down into her situation, like navel gazing, right? But just to her side, there's a key with a light shining right on it that is being missed because we're really stuck in the feeling of it and the old stories that come with it, what it is to be. See, every time I try, then I get rejected, the door gets closed, it doesn't work out for me. And we're perpetuating that story, whereas it's coming in to lift up, do the heavy lifting so that we can then see something that's just right here, you know? So trying to use it, you know, how can I use the something that is non-preferred, but it is actually a resource. It is actually an answer. It is something that serves to help us to move forward. It's just not coming in the time that we would like it to. So that's when the patience comes back again.
And I mean, because it is a Taurus card, so what came to me was like, what are we stubbornly attached to that we don't want to let go of? You know, the hand is, I know I want it, you know, I want it, you know, which area, because it's like you said, they're showing at different areas, you know, like different elements, different aspects of our life, whatever, different season reasons. So what areas of our lives we are stubbornly holding on to the old and we just don't want to release it because it's the comfort zone is what helped us to survive. But now it became a straitjacket and it's preventing us from getting to the next level, to becoming that person, you know, because it's like when we keep saying that, yeah, I want all this, I want all that, but at the same time, I want to hold on to everything I have. It doesn't work that way, right? So, yeah, so it's interesting, like you said, with the hands. And I mean, hands are ruled by Gemini, so it's always a matter of choice. Yeah.
And I'm now seeing that balloon in a whole new way because I feel like then maybe we just don't want to let go. We don't want to let the balloon go versus I'm stuck here holding this balloon. You know, it's actually another side of that could be what are you still holding on to that you just, if once you release that, once you cut that, that it lifts, you know, it lifts and carries away something that's been very heavy, that has been sort of that weight or that thing that is that block or something that's perceived in our way, but it's actually also coming from within. You know, like once again, it always seems like, why is this happening to me versus for me? So when we feel ourselves in that state, what has become heavy? What is feeling uncomfortable, non-preferred, whatever it is? And then in what way do I actually have power of choice to move it, to release it, to shift it in some way that then I feel moves pretty quickly once we get to this
Hmm.
nice space
Yeah,
there.
because
So
I mean, Sagittarius is a very fast-moving energy, and you know, the Nine of Wands is the card of Sagittarius, and it's like what you were saying, what I've been carrying, you know, like the Ten of Wands, like, oh my God, why don't I just not want to let this go? My life would be so much easier. So I
yeah.
think with the Sagittarius full moon, we're going to become very aware, you know, especially as Jupiter is in Cancer, so we're gonna really feel it, you know, really feel it in our, you know, in our body. We're going to become very aware, maybe like our emotional attachments to this old garbage, you know, to this old stuff, because we thought like, oh, this is what I always thought I was. This is what I, you know, this was like connected to my sense of self. So, you know, like I feel that there will be a lot of realization because obviously Jupiter in Cancer is also expanding our intuition, right? Because Jupiter expands everything it touches. So that's why it's going to bring the flooding of emotions because it's going to help us to recalibrate to our intuitive guidance. Just like you said, stop looking outside of yourself, look within. So, yeah, so I really feel that this Sagittarius full moon will create some shift in our consciousness.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. As you're just saying that now, I see this as like when they say, I know it like the back of my hand. I could do it in my sleep. It's like, that's the old story. Yeah, you know that. That's familiar. I know it like the back of my hand. But actually, again, just because it's always been doesn't mean that that's where you're going. And so it does seem like there's this quick moving realization or illumination that comes here at this midpoint to what really feels more aligned at this time. So again, once you're here, be here now. You know, it's so funny because as always, it's like comes full around to the things we were talking about before we came in. Of course, we were already tapping into it, not even realizing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you're in this energy, you can't wait to get out of it. This energy, I want this to last forever. You know, I don't want the party to end, but we know that the wheel will turn. After the nine will come the 10, and we will, in fact, move into another. So wherever you are, patiently, experiencing it. So, it's like the same old, same old. I know it, it's familiar, it's comfortable, even if it's not serving, to lifting that perspective away and seeing something new that's possible, and then woohoo, party time here now, and enjoy, rejoice in the celebration of that feeling of alignment and understanding that you can now see, all of the things that brought you here, and just be there. And then we can talk about the rest when we get there.
Yeah, but you see, that's very interesting because that's one thing that I mean a lot of people are mentioning about the age of Aquarius and the um mm, being much more okay with change, like being much less attached, because like in the older days, like obviously because of the survival and everything, it was like, yeah, we wanted things to be predictable. We wanted, like be attached, I want this, I want that, because this is like guarantees my survival, right? Whereas with Aquarian age, it's very like a flowy energy, very erratic, not very predictable and stuff. Even like we were saying again, like you said, right on the theme, the weather, right? Like very unpredictable. You can't really make money plans, like 1 year it was different, 2 years ago it was different, now it's different, like it's just not like you cannot, it's not cookie cut anymore. You cannot like, oh yeah, in June is this kind of weather, July this kind of, well, not anymore. It could be anything, it could be really anything. So yeah, and then what came to me also was about this like ADHD and stuff. Like when at the moment we look it as like kind of like a disability or like a weakness or imperfection, but it's actually, in a sense, yeah, when we change the perspective, it's not allowing us to get stuck in one place for too long. Like we
Mm,
always have to find a balance, so it's not actually disruptive to our life. But that's what I mean. We go from the extreme of we have to be attached, everything the same, no change. I don't like change, da 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 da. And Aquarius is saying that, well, but the change is going to be constant and is necessary because we're going to be moving fast. So you cannot really hold on to anything for too long because, especially once Uranus moves to Gemini, I mean, fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be fast. So I feel like I don't know why that just jump into my head, the HDHD and HDD, because we cannot focus on one thing forever. It's like, oh my God, next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. And like I said, yeah, we're going from maybe extreme to extreme, but we're learning to calibrate to this new energy. So at the moment we are in a stage is like, well, I don't know what to do with this energy, it's just like disturbing my life. But eventually we will find a way, we'll find a way, new way, because this is not something that it's affecting few percentage of people. This is something that's going to become a minority soon, minority majority, and especially with most of the new children being technically born with it. So yeah, so I don't know why that just jumped into my head, but it's interesting because I know that there's been, I don't know where I heard it, I can't give credit, but like with the age of Aquarius, we will be much more okay with change and be
mhm.
much more flexible. And this is where, I don't know, they just kind of pop into my head as a side note that, yeah, this is relevant.
Yeah, no, I feel that because it's like when you say like to be able to flow with it, fluidity is another word that came up for me this morning about just, and again, the water bearer, the fluidity. Hey, we're all bringing our chalices to the table, but it's like there's this ability to flow and stay fluid and not the rigidity, which is also, yes, the rapid changing, but the multidimensionality as well, all happening at the same time. And I see that hand as like this source of all the things. It's just interesting the way this card, because it segments each of the hands in a way that's keeping them separate, but they're actually not separate. They're all these fingers are all part of the same hand, just like we all are part of the same humanity. And yet we've been operating very, differently. So I think it is like a nod to the multidimensionality and our ability now to really start to move into that space where we bring all these different things to the table all at once, but it does create this beautiful meal. It creates this moment that we can bring it all together from all these different places and celebrate. So, yeah, I mean, just the fluidity and the ability to roll with it, recognizing that in this moment, whether it's the thumb or the pinky, or I keep thinking of all the children's rhymes, like where is Thumpkin and all the different things where it's like, treating it like they're all separate, but actually all part of the same hand.
Well,
So,
the source, we all coming from the source, but we are a different, unique expression of the source, and we all experiencing life very differently. but we all come from the same place, return to the same place, and the universe is all observing it through us in a different way because we all have unique. Yeah, so I mean, we could just start diving deep
Oh
into it.
yeah.
Oh,
We
with
could go off on our own. I could go off on my own ADHD
you bring
talking about all the
multi-dimensionality
different
on the
things
table,
we
and
can
that's
bring to
it.
the table. Yes, and just the creative minds and all the abilities, which is why, yes, more and more souls are bringing in that frequency, which we label with different things and all of it.
Mhm.
But ultimately, it's the energetic expression, the template that's coming in that's creating, where to from here. So yeah, that's a whole thing that is fascinating. And as we expected, June is playing a role, a pivotal role in what comes next on the other side of this nine that we've been saying, wait for it, wait, hold on, it's like the balloon release is coming. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's like a new moon in Cancer, seeding the new human.
new identity. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see what comes up on the other side of that. But also all minor arcana here. So if we're talking about, what does this mean to me standing here in the cornfield holding my balloon? It's like, this is all the people, places, and things that are making up the experience on this fool's journey, which is this a very significant time. We're all here on these significant journeys, but to me, it looks like overall June just playing out in a way that's ultimately serving us for some new perspectives and maybe even some things to celebrate on the other end.
And that makes perfect sense to me because it's the mutable season. So I think, we will see some major arcana for July. Because there's the Cancer season, and then obviously we have the Uranus moving into Gemini thing going on as well, but that's for another conversation. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, Gemini season, just let them play. They can make their own choices, whatever they want. And then obviously, if we don't go where we meant to go, then the universe will interfere with some major arcana. It's like, okay, they need a little bit of push into certain direction. So yeah, so I feel like this is like really, it is all a matter of choice. Like, yeah, how you want to get there is up to you. We are in Gemini season.
Yeah. Yeah, and have fun. Keep it light if you can, just try to find that joy in the journey as you go. So, yeah, solstice, lots of things coming up. So, at the end of the month, I'm happy for summer on this end of the hemisphere. But
Yeah, same. We are on the same hemisphere now, so
yes, yeah. You can't tell from the weather that we've been experiencing in very different places, yet so similar. But yeah, looking forward to that for sure. All right, well, let's bring in our soul coaching oracle card. We haven't used this deck in a while, so looking forward to seeing what comes up for us to put a finishing touch on the June messages. And then we will rendezvous in the middle of the month on Instagram, right? Live for a check-in on these energies.
yeah, the such full moon after effects.
Yeah. Yeah, then it really will be about midway through. All right. Let's see, one card. Ooh, beauty.
Oh my God, the car, like the theme of beauty has been coming up so much. And it
Really?
actually is like, yeah, like I've been using so many different decks and a lot of cards that either had beauty as a, title of the card or like in the description or something. Because we are here to co-create something that is beautiful.
It's number 6. So there is this energy after all. Like I said, the lovers popped out in the beginning. This is the 6th month, the number 6, balance, healing, harmony, the beauty. I love this as a gateway. Of course, we'll have the 6-6 portal this month too. So there'll definitely be some energies being reflected there through relationship, so yeah, that's lovely. I've been getting a lot of pink flowers, peonies specifically, but love that with all the flowers and the archway there. That's really beautiful. Let's take a peek and see what soul coaching guidance comes forward from that. So we have an affirmation that says, I am deeply and profoundly beautiful. So it's speaking to your beauty inside and out, sacred inner and outer space, being radiant and glorious. So, no matter what your age, your loveliness is growing. Create outer harmony in your home environment, even in small ways, such as a vase of flowers, a scented candle, or clean windows, and your inner grace will glow. So, your soul wants you to know that the more you see beauty around you, in your environment, yourself, and your body, the more it will fill your life in all forms. Be hesitant to say anything about yourself or your body that's negative. Don't put yourself down silently or to others. Instead, affirm beauty and take time to adorn your body and personal space. Take a luxurious bath, read a book, have a massage, or create a home altar. Cherish yourself, and the luminescence within you and around you will glow. So that's lovely. And I think that it does feel like if I was thinking about if I'm here now and I'm holding this balloon, like let me make my space feel welcoming and inviting for me as best I can. So there is a sense of like um again from the inside out. And the other thing that was in there was about the self-talk, the like the mind and the way that you're speaking, whether it be internally or externally, wanting that to reflect beauty and light and your true essence and not just what it can feel in the time when we're in a state of a lower vibration, I guess is what I was tying into this energy. But allowing yourself to blossom into creating that space around you and celebrating that.
Well, for me, somehow this card is very associated with this Jupiter in Cancer because, Jupiter in Cancer is really going to amplify the feelings. And I think more and more people will be desiring, like, I want different life. I want better life. I want beautiful life. I want more beauty because, like, straight away, like, even if there is like a bad day and stuff, but you see something beautiful, it puts a smile on your face or you like cute animal or something. And I feel because it's also Cancer season, which then will move into Leo season. So these are like the 2 months, which, in most places are the holidays for children, right? The school break. Which is all about like this reparenting, re-nurturing, reconnecting with the inner child. Obviously, then moving from Cancer into Leo season next month, and then it's like all about your child, right? So I feel like because the children they want beautiful things, they want like why would they want something ugly, like I mean I don't know any child whose favorite color is black, like they all want pretty things, like cute things, cutesy things. And this is also the polarity of Pluto in Aquarius, the Leo, that we want the beauty, we want the luxury, we want the things that make us feel excited and joyous and are fun, so I feel like this being the archway, like a portal. And yeah, like you said rightly, there is a 6 portal. 6, of course, is the number associated with Venus, it's the balance, harmony, the relationships and stuff. And yeah, it's like opening into this like yeah these timelines which is being offered to us, that yeah you can continue to experience life through this bleak lens of like suffering and what am I missing in this life, and the lack mentality, being the one left out, whatever. Or we can focus on, just like you said, there is something beautiful everywhere, in every place, in every opportunity, in every, even like the other day here, it was raining and it was miserable and gray, but the clouds were like the clouds. It looked like the mountains were in the clouds because they were smoking. So I was like, everything is gray and like miserable. But I was taking pictures because I was, wow, that looks amazing. It looks like the mountains are in the clouds. They're like smoking. So that's what I mean. Like, yeah, like in every of these negative situations or like things that are like dark, but there could be beauty found. And just like what the author was saying, the more we focus on these things, the more they will amplify, the more they will expand. The more I train my eye to focus on the pretty things, the nice thing, the positive things, the more of those I will see. So yeah, so I really feel that this is like this month of June, for whatever reason, but I feel Jupiter moving into Cancer somehow. It is like the portal towards this, maybe starting to perceive, making the choice to starting to perceive reality from the other side, because otherwise the Jupiter in Cancer, with the amplification of emotions, things are just going to feel unbearable. If I focus on negative things and all I see is darkness, and Jupiter moves into Cancer, then I'm gonna feel like amplified amount of that. So yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's like if I'm seeking out the beauty in all things, it's not because I don't see things that are bleak or gray or heavy or dark or whatever it may be. I'm aware that it's there, but I'm going to put my energy and my focus into like that's just the pinky, that part of it. Like, okay, yeah, that's one aspect is this stuff. But actually what I really want to focus on is the beauty, and that's going to vary what you find to be beautiful. And I think ultimately there's nothing more beautiful than authenticity. Even though there's a lot of pressure and expectation on, what beauty means from an external point of view, or maybe there are some kids whose favorite color is black. I don't know. But for the most part, we gravitate towards lightness and things that lift the vibration, which color plays a huge role in. So I think that's another thing too, is then when you're in a situation, a circumstance, an environment that might be heavier or darker or challenging, then you surround yourself with things that help to uplift you. Plants, flowers, light, looking for things that, like you say, with the mountains, same here. We had a double rainbow the other day after, a lot of rain and storming. Yesterday it was raining and I was sitting here doing a reading and I looked up and there was a deer across the street and it was just kind of out there in the rain and it was just walking around even though it was gray and I had just been complaining about what it looks like. Then there was this beautiful deer or a lot of birds come out in the weather. So there's seeking out the beauty, and the time and energy that I spend putting into that is time that I'm not sitting here navel gazing and building up that heavy layer. It's lifting that for us. So I think it all just kind of ties together there, that ultimately the archway that leads to all that is out there that we're striving toward is really surrounding ourselves in the beauty of authenticity, of joy, of choice, that you know I am multidimensional. I'm experiencing all these things, and I'm not going to negate the things that are heavier or lower vibrational, but I'm not going to live here. I have all of these things to integrate that ultimately is the key, is where the door opens to step through to, where it is that we're endeavoring to go.
Yeah, and that's actually the exact punchline, because we started with the portal, where she's holding on to whatever she's holding on to, or being guided, however way we want to interpret it. And then we end in with this other portal. We starting with the portal. It's like, oh, there is just this, universe. We don't know where we're going and stuff. And then we end in with this portal towards beauty. So, I mean, to me, that like, if you look at it from like zoom out and look at it as a like, punctuation mark of this entire reading, then the spirit is saying like, yeah, at the end, on the other side of that is that completely different life on this planet, the life that is beautiful, that people will enjoy, and that will feel like flowers blooming and stuff, like it will be this lightness and this joy and happiness, and yeah, the pink, the heart chakra, and like pink again as the connection to the child, that things will be more innocent and stuff. So all of these other things, with the five, and the spirit holding on, because you're almost there, so don't worry. Yeah, eventually we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there because that's where we meant to go. So I mean, in a sense, like we cannot not get there. We're already there. We just bridging the gap between the manifested and non-manifested. But yeah, at the moment it all seems like a potential. There is this big rabbit hole that we can go into, this portal into universe. But it's nothing manifest. It's just unlimited potential what it can be. And then the spirit is like, don't worry, on the other side, look, there's gonna be a whole new beautiful world that you're gonna be experiencing over there on planet Earth. Just be patient. Yeah.
Be patient. And you're beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's real. That's awesome. I see that. That's so beautiful. The two portals. And here it's like the cornfields are kind of like they're done for the season. They've been harvested and everything's kind of dying and turning over. But all of that serves because ultimately we bloom again, and the sun comes out and we step into the new. So pretty cool. I like
The
how
summer
that.
season, yes.
There we go. So once again, the cards and stars imitate life. They reflect back to us. So you
Yeah,
can't
it
make
doesn't
it up.
fail.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah, it's just perfect. I mean, yeah, and it's like what we were saying, it's all cyclical. It's that ebbs and flows. Yeah, we're gonna get to Three of Cups, and then yeah, who knows what's gonna come in July? It's like, but and that's another aspect of that. Like it just, try to find something every day because I mean, yeah, it's not gonna be rainbows and butterflies every day. It won't be raining every day, but you have to have something to keep you going through the dark times until the sun comes out again. So yeah, like you said, whether it's the flower, whether it's the music, whether it's the bubble bath, whether it's your favorite meal, whether it's a conversation with your loved one, whatever, but there is something there to keep you holding up and keep you going until you get there.
Yeah, bring in those resources and use them to sustain you, and they will. And ultimately, celebrate because such is life, the beauty of it all is staying fluid and flowing with it as we grow. So it's happening, it's exciting, and it's all the things. So just be there for the ride.
I think this was, perfect closing message.
Yeah,
Just
awesome.
go with the flow, eh?
Yep, that's what I say. Never heard it said better, but just grow through what you go through and flow through. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. So as we are entering into new months, I'm sure that there are new offerings on your menu, Marissa. So share.
Yes, thank you. Getting ready to kick off a new month of empowerment. June is a favorite because we have special offerings throughout this month, in addition to the empowerment pack, where we'll be diving into a new theme over here on the altar and new elements and all the goodies. That is available to join me for that bundle of 3 readings throughout the month. But I'm also going to have a summer solstice or winter, depending on where you are. I have a spread for both. We'll have a special solstice altar and a favorite, reading, a seasonal reading that I like to offer. So that'll be coming up, as well as, of course, the Empowerment Sharecast, my free space on the Marco Polo app. So we'll be tuning in with all new intuitively selected decks. I don't know yet. I have a couple ideas, but we'll have some featured decks and elements and invite anyone to join over there. It's free and fun, and again, we'll have pick a cards and some other things throughout the month. So
And we'll put the link in the description so you can easily find it.
yes, it'll be
Just
right
one click
there.
away.
Yes. And how about you?
Well, as we will be nearing the change of seasons, I'll probably be running a seasonal sale, but that's not until the solstice. But yeah, if you need any help and support with anything else, of course, you can find me on my socials and also my, YouTube. Well, obviously, you're watching this on my YouTube channel, but also my website, moonlightsoul369.com. And yeah, let's see what this summer has in store for us, what surprises. So yeah, I'm in for it.
Yeah, awesome.
So yeah, so thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to connect with us again mid-month through on Instagram Live. There will be obviously announcements with regards to when exactly that's going to take place. And thank you again, Marissa, as always. I know that your life is busy, so it's not so easy to make a time. And also, like I am in transitions in a few days again, so it's always good to connect. And yeah, I look forward to reconnecting in the mid-month and then again at the end of the month for July, the second half of 2025. Oh my God.
Crazy. Yeah, I look forward to it too.
All right, everyone. Have a great one and bye for now.